Passport bros are being drugged, robbed, and killed. Unfortunately, this is a headline of a BBC article, and it says a series of mysterious deaths involving American men in Colombia has been linked to dating apps. And this goes on to describe a very grisly murder of a U.S. citizen, but the part here that's relevant is his death is one of 8 Medellin that prompted a warning from the U.S. Embassy about the risks of using dating apps. All 8 victims were Americans who died in suspicious circumstances in November and December. That means during the span of 2 months, 8 Americans set up dates on dating apps, and they were all set up by their girl and unfortunately murdered. And this video is going to share with you over a decade worth of travel experience so that you don't wind up like one of these unfortunate men. I've spent the last 10 years of my life traveling all across the world, and yes, I've been to Medellin, the city mentioned in this article, at least 3 or 4 times. And I've also been fortunate enough to never been drugged or robbed, and I've also never been murdered. Hence is why I'm sitting here. And of course, part of that is luck, but a bigger part of it is because I follow these safety tips that I'm gonna tell you guys in this video, which I think are essential to abide by if you're traveling to a second or third world country. Let's start off with the first one. And this one may seem like common sense, but you wanna stay in the safest and busiest area. Don't stay somewhere off the beaten path, right? You want somewhere where there's a lot of foot traffic, where there's police, where there's people around, even at night. So if I'm traveling to Medellin, you know where I'm staying? El Poblado. That's the very center. I'm staying in the very center of El Poblado too. I'm not staying somewhere where it's $10 cheaper on Airbnb. That's kind of off to the side, right? There's a lot of other nice parts of the city, but again, I'm a tourist. I don't want to stay somewhere where there's less foot traffic. Number 2, this one may not seem like common sense, but again, it involves also not being cheap. You want to stay somewhere where there's a 24/7 front desk. So don't stay in a random Airbnb where there's like a code or some tiny hotel where you have some kind of access card, right? You want somewhere with a front desk and security, which works 24/7. And there's a lot of places like that. And of course, everything's so cheap over there, it shouldn't be a big deal. And this gives you a massive layer of safety. First of all, it creates a deterrent effect because if the girl's about to do some shit, she's like, hey, well, I'm gonna be caught on camera. You know, there's a security here. I could very easily get arrested, and afterwards it'll probably be traced back to me, right? That's the first thing. And the second thing, if some shit is going down, instead of having to fight the girl, her boyfriend, her pimp, and her drug dealer, you can literally just call the security, and that will also do a big thing. But honestly, the biggest part of it is the deterrent effect. Number 3, always avoid group dates. So when you're traveling to any country, especially Colombia, you might have some girls messaging you like, hey, my friend's in town and she's gonna be bored. Is it okay if she comes? Haha. Or something like, hey, my friend thinks you're cute. Do you want to have some fun together? You might be thinking, hell yeah, Colombia, threesome, right? But the chance of something bad happening when there's 2 girls together is significantly higher. At best, you're just gonna have 2 Colombian girls cock blocking each other and wasting your time. And at worst, you might lose a kidney. And no, I'm not even exaggerating that much. I'm speaking from personal experience. Now, of course, I've never lost a kidney, but what I do remember happened was about 5 years ago when I was in Cartagena, me and my buddy decided to go on a double date with 2 girls, and something was really weird the whole time. Something just felt really off about these girls. And then when I went to the bathroom, I got like 20 WhatsApp messages from my friends saying, dude, don't touch your drink. I saw her put something in it. So I got back and I was like, all right, I'm gonna test her. So I was about to take a drink, right? I'm watching her and I'm like, hey, actually, I think I've drank enough. Here, why don't you have some? And she wouldn't drink it. I was like, no, come on, have a sip. She wouldn't do it. So at that point, it became really obvious that she put something in my drink. Fortunately, my friend caught it and we kicked them out and nothing bad happened. But again, imagine if my friend didn't catch that, right? Me being, you know, a lot younger and hornier, I might have had that drink and then gotten roofied and robbed and God knows what else. So always avoid group dates because again, girls, you know, they know that you're bigger than them, right? So for them, it's safety in numbers. So whatever a girl wants to bring a friend, I say always say no. And if she doesn't want to come by herself, then 100% pass on that. Which leads me to point number 4. Drink safety, right? So in Colombia, any third world country, if you put your drink down for any amount of time where you're not looking at it, right? You go to the bathroom or something like that, never ever drink it after that, right? You want to just order a new drink. The most common way that girls, you know, rob you is by first roofing you. That's by far the most common scenario. So you want to avoid ever leaving your drink, you know, without attention. Now, also one thing I would say is you want to avoid getting too hammered. In fact, it's better if you avoid drinking in the first place, right? But if you're going to drink, make sure you drink in moderation because your safety and your life is literally on the line, right? So you want to be very careful with stuff like that. If you want to get drunk, do it with your friends or do it with a girl you've already had sex with multiple times. The next one is always go with your gut feeling, right? So if something feels too good to be true, something is off, it probably is. I remember those 2 girls that I mentioned, in my gut, I just knew something felt off just about her texting. I couldn't really put my finger on it, right? But something felt really off, right? I ignored my gut feeling and went with my dick because I was really horny, right? But again, that was a potentially disastrous mistake that I was fortunate enough to avoid. So if your gut is telling you something is off, then don't do it. Next one is also somewhat common sense. You want to travel with a friend, right? Again, there's safety in numbers and your friend can have your back, you can have his back. So it's better to avoid traveling by yourself. Number 9, no taxis, right? You want to avoid ever taking a taxi. Now, of course, there's a lot of good taxi drivers out there, right? But it's much safer to take an Uber. You see someone who has 55-star reviews, chances are nothing is going to happen. Versus if you see a taxi or an Uber driver that has no reviews, you want to generally pass on that. Next is no prostitutes, right? First of all, it's super easy to get laid in third world countries anyway, using Tinder and other dating apps, so you don't have any need for that. But second of all, the risk of something bad happening goes significantly up when it comes to prostitutes and drugs. So you want to avoid both of those things. And the last one is you want to ask for the girl's Instagram, right? And the reason you want to do this is because if a girl gives you an Instagram that's like literally 2 days old, or it's, she doesn't have one, right? That's a little sus. Now, that's not necessarily a complete deal breaker for me, right? But then what I will do is also compare that and see, okay, what else about her has been giving me red flags? And if she doesn't want to give you her real phone number, she's using one of these text apps, right? Then at that point, you want to walk away. So what you're looking for is ideally for a girl to have a normal Instagram that's at least a few years old, right? And you want to also for her to give you her WhatsApp number. If she's not willing to do either one of those things, then chances are she's already preparing for setting you up and trying to avoid getting caught. And at that point, you want to walk away. All right, hope you guys found this video valuable. And the most important safety tip that I haven't revealed yet is making sure to subscribe to PWF channel, because if that's the case, no girl is going to want to fuck with you. Also, if you're enjoying this type of content, make sure you share this video with a few friends, because that really helps us in the algorithm. And if you want to learn how to get laid more on Tinder and other dating apps, how to text girls, how to get better photos, then check out our free Tinder ebook, link in description. Thank you for watching, and until next time.